Hi and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing two photographic styled tarot decks to you from Deckstiny. These are the Rider-Waite-Smith Wide Angle and the Rider-Waite-Smith Panorama tarot decks. Each of these are based on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. However, they have a twist due to their size, their rotation and the way that they are laid out. So we will start with the larger of the two decks, the Wide Angle. This comes in a very large box. It is a first edition. All the Deckstiny decks have a limited number, so you get your own individual copy number. Mine's 66. And on the back it explains that the hidden wonders lie in the periphery, as a wide angle lens invites you to explore beyond the obvious. This deck is created by Marte Horonumba. The artwork is done by Umsin, and there's an artist which apparently is called hpn.boo. So inside the box, which I will open, as you can see, there are little thumb holes so you can grab the box and open it easier. Inside the box you'll see there is this K. This is a symbol for Kickstarter. Kickstarter being a company who help promote certain products. Inside all Deckstiny decks you are given a certificate, and this is the certificate for the first edition of the Rider-Waite-Smith Wide Angle. It gives you your individual number, and you can see here the boxes are just plain on the inside, so I'll move it out of the way. So there's a certificate, and you can see the cards are in fact gigantic. They are, if I put a standard tarot card size card next to this, you can see they are just ginormous. So what purpose do these serve? Well, they are very unique. They are also going to be very difficult to shuffle, I can guarantee. The card stock itself is beautiful. It's the same as a standard tarot card sort of stock. It's matte. So we have the certificate. We then have a spacer card. I'm going to have to actually bring my camera back. We then have a spacer card. We then have this card here, which makes any of the tarot that you look at wide angle. We then have another wide angle card, which has obviously got the gap in it there in white. And we have another wide angle card, which is actually solid. I'm not really sure on this, but these are spacer cards to take care of the deck. So we'll begin with the first card in this tarot deck, which is the Fool. Now, in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, which I'm going to try and pull out a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot for you now. Here's a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. This is not from Deckstiny. Cards are obviously a lot smaller. And I'll keep this card to a side. What's this? The Four of Swords. I'll keep that to a side with a couple of others just so that I can show you some comparisons, because this deck's been shuffled, so I can't just grab the Fool for now. But this is based on the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. Now you can see extra, if you would, to the normal tarot card. So if we put this over, you would see what you would normally see on the tarot card there. And now you can see all the extra scenery. So they are really large. But you get all the extra. You get the sharks in the water, which you normally wouldn't get. You get the extra, the skyline. So you get to see the image in a full wide angle size. It's a really interesting concept. If we have a look at the Magician here, I will use the other lens so you can see. That is what you would normally see of the Magician card. Whereas now, you can see the extra trees. You can see there's a birdhouse there. You can see all the greenery. You can see a lot more than you would do in the standard tarot. I wish I could just grab a standard tarot version of one of these cards to just compare. Let me see if I can try and find... Ah, there we go. There's a... I'll put that to a side and that to a side so I can compare in a moment. So yeah, this is the Magician. This is a standard tarot Magician. So there we go. Can you see the difference? So if I just pop the standard one here and place this over again, Now you can see what you would normally see. But these cards are obviously different because you can see so much more. I'm glad I could give you an example of that. So then we have the High Priestess, and I'll pop over the wide angle lens again so you can see what you'd normally have compared to what you have here, which is far more in the image. And then we have the Empress. Beautiful field, so you can even see the cows in the field there and the barn in the background compared to when you just see this. Yeah, really big cards. I have to say these are going to be really difficult to shuffle, but they're really interesting to see more, to depict more. So you've got here the Emperor, and then you've got the wide angle, and you can see all the cards here have been labelled in the corner there. And then we have, this label is really difficult to see, and this will be the Hierophant. I'm just not quite sure why it's not labelled so clearly. Oh yeah, it is labelled, but in the bottom corner there in white. So yeah, that's what you traditionally see. Whereas, here's a full image. So you get to see the chairs, you get to see more of the room because it's wide angle. It's a really interesting concept that Deckstiny have done here. And it's definitely something which is worth thinking about, because we've got the lovers here, for example. Slightly different in colour there to the traditional card. But now we can see far more, and we can see that they're actually on this sort of limited piece of land in space. Really does add more to it. Then we have the Chariots here, which you can see beforehand and after. So it's definitely worth keeping hold of these so you can sort of see, this is what we'd normally see. Here we see the extra with the buildings in the background, the hens in the field. It's a really interesting concept. Here we have Strength. And take the angle away and we get all these extra bits like the lions on the savannah, and we have a beautiful picnic and the greenery. So the Hermit, traditional carrying of that lamp, and then here we have the icy landscape in full detail. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune, and I can give you an example of this. Traditionally would look like this. If I hold this, if I put that on there and then move this here, you can see so much more. All the clouds, all the landscape, so much more detail there. And then we have Justice, which you can see here. This is how it'd look. Take it away, you can see all the other people at play there, the two sides, the red and the blue. It's very Romeo and Juliet there. And here we have the Hanged Man. I think this is a really interesting one because the Hanged Man's quite a simple and plain card. I always turn this the other way up so you can see they're not in distress. And now here we see the seagulls just casually on the posts there, watching them suspended. Yeah, there's a lot more to the images. And then we have Death, carrying the flag, and if we take away that, we can see so much more. We can see the church, we can see this house, we can see a lot more in the image. Moving on to Temperance, that's traditionally what you'd see there, and then you have all this beautiful landscape. And then the Devil, compared to this, so now you see all the rocky terrain, the crystals. It's just really interesting. I really like this one. It works. The tower. So here's the tower that looks really chaotic on the card. And you take this away and actually you see the clouds, the landscape. It's quite different there. And then we have the Star. So you can see the wide angle version. And the Moon. This is a beautifully done card. So here's the Moon. And if you take this away, you get all these extra bits. Isn't it lovely? And the same with the sun. Here's the sun. And there it is in more detail. So you can see all the landscapes. And then we have Judgment. How interesting is that? That suddenly Judgment is at sea. And then we have the World. So this is just the major arcana for now. How beautiful are they? And I'll move on to the minor arcana. So we have the wands. So you can see the hand there. Every ace in a suit for wands, cups, swords and pentacles has that hand. But now you can see more. You can see the houses in the background. You can see whose hand it is. Just so much more detail. And here's another one that I think is really well done. The Two of Wands. Now, rather than putting the lens over them all, I'm just going to flick through because otherwise this video would be extremely lengthy. So we have the Three of Wands. We have the Four of Wands. And the Five. So you can see that labelled just very subtly in the top left corner. And the extra detail you get is really nice. There's a 6 and the 7. It's quite hard getting it all on the screen actually. And the 8. Now I like this one because normally with the 8 you just get that, whereas now we've got the hot air balloons. And then we have the 9 and the 10. So you get more imagery. Yeah, we have the Page and the Knight and the Queen and the King of Wands. Then we have the Ace of Cups. Again, beforehand you wouldn't have seen who was behind the hand. And then the Two of Cups and the 3 and the 4. Really nicely done. And then we have the 5, the 6, the 7. I think that's really beautifully done as well because you get to see the extra cherub there. And then we have the 8 and the 9 and the 10. And I really like this with a picnic basket on the table that you wouldn't have seen in a traditional card. Then we have the Page of Cups and the Knight and the Queen. And the King. Again, you get the extra dolphins, you get the extra lighthouse, a lot more scenery there. And then we move on to the Ace of Swords. Again, you wouldn't see that person there. And the 2, and the 3, and the 4. Now, I pulled out the Four of Swords before because I was going to share it with you as an example. Where I put it, I'm not sure, so it won't be an example for now. But yeah, the way the cards are depicted are just so much wider. And then we have the 5 and the 6 and the 7 and the 8. Beautifully, beautifully done. And the 9 and the 10. So you get to see a lot more. And then we have the Page of Swords there. I like that we have this target practice. And the Knight with the extra horses right alongside. And the Queen with these wolves. I don't think we'd have had the wolves before. No. So you get to see the Queen with the wolves. And then we have the King. And then again, we have the Ace of Pentacles here. And now you can see the actual person behind it. And the Two of Pentacles, which I find really amusing because obviously we've got that juggling. But then in the background here, we've got this clown and the seal. Then we have the 3 of coins, or pentacles, sorry, and the 4 holding on to everything. Then we have the 5, and I love this because you can see even more of the windows are lit up. Before in the 5 it looked like a very lonely scene, whereas now you can see that it's nice and illuminated. And we have the 6 and the 7, and I love this one as well because of the windmill being in the background there, just that, and the work area here. Then we have the 8 and the 9. How beautiful is that? And the 10. I like this leading staircase. And then we have the Page of Pentacles and the Knight and the Queen and the King. So finally we have a couple more cards which are basically for packaging. They are a thank you card and just a spacer card. So this deck is certainly a large tarot deck. It's one that I haven't yet really shuffled, obviously, because I was going to share it with you. But I will be keeping these angled bits and all the certification because it's useful to have. But there are a lot of spacer cards, which obviously I don't need in the box, so they'll go away for the time being. This deck is so large, I don't know how often I'll be using it, but it's certainly really good if you're ever going to teach the tarot. Finally, we have the Panorama Tarot, which again, beautiful box, first edition, original number there. Thumb slots so we can open the box easily. Inside the box, very plain, as you can see. So I'll pop that in the background there. So this deck goes this way around, which is quite unusual for tarot because obviously traditional tarot is in portrait mode. I will get you a traditional tarot deck now so you can see. Traditional tarot deck this way up. So first of all we have a spacer card, title card, and then we have the Fool. Actually, I'm just wondering if we do have the Fool or if that's because I've got it the wrong way around. Then we've got a certificate card, sorry. I did have it the wrong way around. And then we've got another spacer card. I think the Fool should go there. There we go. So then we have the Fool. Now you can see again, much like the fact that we had the wide angle, the panoramic version of this deck shows you the card in like a super wide angle. Because normally you would literally see about that and that, you know, you just see the sides. So this makes it like wide angle television. We have the Magician, which again you can see so much more detail, but it's whether you like working with tarot decks on a wide angle sort of basis. We then have the High Priestess and the Empress. So I'm going to just share with you the Empress traditional style. So you would see this, whereas this time obviously you see all this information at the side, which, as lovely as it is it too much? Is it going to work in a panorama style? I'm not sure. Then we have the Emperor and we have the Hierophant. So these are exactly the same as a wide angle really, but like a smaller version of them. Then we have the Lovers, and you can again see this island is stood on, and the Chariot and Strength. And the Hermit. So really they are almost the same as wide angle. And the Wheel of Fortune and Justice. So use the same images. The Hanged Man there, I'll just swivel that round because I always do. And Death and Temperance and the Devil. So this is like a smaller version of the wide angle deck. The Tower, the Star, the Moon, the Sun, Judgment, the World, and then we have the Minor Arcana. Again, you get to see those people. The Ace of Wands, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10. I am just whipping through these because they are identical, just smaller in size really. We have the Page, the Knight, the Queen, the King, the Ace of Cups, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8, and the 9, and the 10 there with that, you see the picnic bag and things. Then we have the Page and the Knight and the Queen and the King. These are literally what you've just seen. Then we have the Ace of Swords and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5 and the 6 and the 7 and the 8 and the 9 and the 10 and the Page and the Knight and the Queen and the King. The Ace of Pentacles there, the 2, again, them circus people, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, the Page, the Knight, the Queen and the King. And then we have a thanks for your support card and a spacer card. So it's always worth keeping your certification cards. As you can see, the panoramic deck has got brown sort of detailing to it. It is really nicely printed, and it's got just plain white edging. It is just a matte sort of plain feel to the deck. It feels really lovely in terms of quality. Deckstiny decks are always really high quality. So these are very artsy photography style tarot decks. This one I'd have to work obviously horizontally with, and the wide angle I'm not even sure if I could shuffle. So I think they're more sort of collector's items really than practical tarot decks. However, there may be something that you're interested in. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you think. And I know this has been a really long video, so if you've made it to the end, well done. Thanks for watching. Take care.